What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I am DL, back with another movie review. Creed 3 is going to be out in theaters this weekend, so we're going to go back and talk about all 6 Rocky films and the first 2 Creed movies before it's released. I've already talked about all 6 Rocky films and the first Creed movie. If you guys haven't seen my reviews for those, I'll put a link in the description below so you guys can watch them. But today is the last stop. Today we're going to be talking about Creed 2 that came out in 2018. Let's get into this. So when the first Creed movie came out, it was a surprise hit. After the Rocky films concluded, no one ever thought that Creed would not only end up being one of the best in the series, but breathe new life into the franchise. I thought the first Creed was great. So much so that I was actually looking forward to seeing more movies following Michael B. Jordan as Adonis. So finding out that the next Creed sequel was going to have Ivan Drago return to the franchise, I definitely was surprised. But not only was he returning, but now he has a son, and he's training him to face Adonis to avenge his defeat from Rocky in the fourth film. Very fascinating to say the least. I'll be honest, when I first heard that Drago was coming back, I wasn't the most enthusiastic. I didn't care for him as the villain in Rocky 4, but I was at least interested to see how the dynamic with his son will play out. Also hearing that Ryan Coogler wasn't coming back to direct, instead they got Stephen Caple Jr. I haven't heard of him before, but we do know he's directing the up-and-coming Transformers Rise of the Beasts, so hopefully he'll be a good successor to Coogler. And overall, this movie managed to deliver again. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was an excellent continuation of the first one. And not only that, this movie actually made me appreciate Rocky 4 a little more. Now, have I made a 180 to liking Rocky 4 now? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I do think this movie did a really good job taking a one-dimensional villain from a previous film and giving him more dimension. There were actually moments where I almost felt bad for him. You know what? Since we're already talking about it, let's just start with Dolph Lundgren as Ivan Drago. Like I said, there wasn't much to his character in Rocky 4 outside of him being the big, intimidating Russian giant. He only had like 4 to 5 lines of dialogue in Rocky 4, and they were very short. There was no personality, no backstory. But in this movie, we actually get some development from him. We see the impact of his loss from Rocky and how he was outcasted from his own country. Even his wife, that we also saw in 4, she left him. Yeah, she left his husband and her son, Victor, because of Ivan's loss. How messed up is that? More importantly, we actually see emotion from him. We actually see him talk more, and we instantly understand his motivation to train Victor to follow in his footsteps. And as far as Victor, he's a beast. He's huge, imposing. Whenever we see him fighting, he's a dominant force. I definitely bought him as Drago's son. What I'm also glad about is that they didn't make Victor a literal killing machine like they did with Ivan in Rocky 4. He's very strong and powerful, but they didn't make him unrealistically strong. It still respects the grounded nature of Rocky Balboa in the first Creed movie. Okay, so now let's talk about Adonis. It is his movie after all. I once again thought Michael B. Jordan as Creed was great. You feel like he's matured a lot since the first film. He's controlled his temper a lot better. His relationship with Bianca has gotten stronger. We finally see him propose to her. Oh, and they have a baby girl named Amara. It was nice to see Creed trying to adjust to married life and being a father. You do feel at first like he's not fully prepared for everything being thrown at him so quickly. Like him and Bianca having to deal with the fact that their daughter Amara was born deaf because of Bianca's hereditary hearing loss. But they tried their hardest to make it work because of the love they have for each other. Also, the friendship between Creed and Rocky have never been stronger. That is until the looming threat of the Dragos came around. And that's where we get the main conflict of the film. Creed also feels like he needs to face Victor to avenge his father dying in the hands of Ivan. And Rocky feeling responsible for not stopping the fight with Apollo, he doesn't want the same fate to happen to Adonis. to the point where he refuses to train him. Creed really starts to question himself whether he wants to fight Drago for his father, or once again fearing that he won't live up to his father's legacy if he didn't take the fight. There's a lot of gray area, and I found that very fascinating. And speaking of father and son, I love that we got to see some closure between Rocky and his son Robert in the film. This movie truly hit home with the theme of how important a relationship is between father and son, not only for the main characters, but for the antagonist as well. Now, do I think this movie is better than the original? Well, it's complicated. I definitely don't think Stephen Caple Jr. is a bad director, but you can tell his direction was not as strong as Ryan Coogler's. Coogler, I'm close to considering him as a film auteur, and you felt his style in the first film. Where in this, I'm still having a hard time feeling Caple's stamp. But I will say he did do a good job bringing out emotions from the characters. The cinematography and color palette was really nice. This movie overall felt bigger than the first. I also think the fight scenes were done better than the first. It felt a lot more intense. Also, the training montage in this movie is awesome. The entire sequence in the desert and him shadowboxing in the pool is one of my favorite montages of the entire series. But what I think Capel is missing is that I didn't feel as much heart as I did with the first. There were a few moments that felt a bit too melodramatic, like Creed being so reactionary to Amara's disability, Creed refusing to talk to Rocky because he won't train him. While I did say Creed matured a bit more, there were still a few moments where he diverted back to his hot-headed self, and he's angry at everyone for no reason, not even take into account what Bianca, his mother, and Rocky, all they were doing was trying to look out for his health and well-being. Also, while I do really like the Dragos in this, I felt like I needed a bit more from them, because what I got was just so fascinating. I wish we could have saw the build to Ivan being separated from his wife. I wanted to see more conflict that he has being outcasted by Russia. Hell, I wish they gave Victor more to say. He's not silent, but he doesn't talk that much. And if anyone's getting affected by all this drama the most, it would be him. I just wish we had more time to understand how he felt about everything. Having to carry the guilt that his father had and restoring honor to his family, it seems like a lot of weight they're putting on Victor. I just wish that we got a little bit more into his psyche. But even though I had all those gripes, I still think this is a really well made film. I still think this is a really good sequel to the first film. I thought Michael B. Jordan as Creed was still really, really good. I loved Sylvester Stallone as Rocky again, Tessa Thompson as Bianca. They made me like the Dragos in this movie. I actually find them compelling characters in this movie. I thought the fight scenes were awesome. I thought they were more entertaining than they were in the first. But overall, yeah, I did think this was a worthy sequel, even though I do feel like I liked the first one a little bit more. But, I this is definitely not a knock on this film. I did think Stephen Caple Jr. did a really good job directing this film. And yeah, overall, I will give Creed 2 a B plus. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Creed 2. What did you guys think about it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? Comment your thoughts down below and let me know. So we did it. We reviewed all the Rocky films and the first two Creed movies. So the next film I will be talking about is Creed 3. I will be seeing it this weekend, so tune in to my review when it comes out. But if you guys enjoyed this, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And please hit the bell if you want to be notified on future videos I'll be doing. But that's all I have for you Rocky and Creed fans, and I will see you guys next time. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.